welcome everybody to another super informative edition of Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News, channel 219 on Dish Network, channel 240 on the awesome free Pluto TV app, and also at americasvoice.news. We have an action-packed show today. We have so many great guests. We have an FBI whistleblower exposing election fraud. We have John Tabacco coming on in just a minute here, and he's the host of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV, but he's also defending the Max Public House bar owners in Staten Island. It's an explosive story. And then we have Dylan Howard, who's one of the top investigative reporters in the country, broke the Charlie Sheen case and Farrah Fawcett scandal before her death, and he's just really great. And we're going to talk about the COVID and his new book and some, international, fraud on the COVID and how we could have protected ourselves better in the beginning of this thing. So I want to get right to news. He's the host of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really an honor. You had me on Liquid Lunch. We had a lot of fun, and I'm in New York too, and we can't sleep at night. We're so upset about what de Blasio and Cuomo are doing to the state. 1/3 of the businesses, of the small businesses in New York and New Jersey are gone forever. So tell us about your situation with Max Public House, who stood up to the sheriffs and Mayor de Blasio and Cuomo.
Well, Dave, I want to thank you for letting me bring this message to the audience. This is a typical David versus Goliath situation. You got a bunch of Staten Island business owners and restaurant owners and bar owners, and not only Staten Island, across the city, across the state and the country, that are getting no relief, especially in the blue states, especially in California and New York. And people are pushed to the point where they have no more money. Nancy Pelosi and her gang down in Washington give relief to these people. So they're pushed to the point of frustration where they say, hey, I'm just going to open up the place and I'm going to give away all the liquor that's left. And I'm just going to go down in flames. I'm bankrupt. I'm broke. I have no money. I have a family. I have kids. And somebody's got to stand up for liberty and freedom. And these two guys, Keith and Dan, they took a stand. And everyone in the country, honestly, is sending in support and all kinds of positive news and energy and everything else. And I want to be clear. Many people are saying that this guy is disrespectful to the NYPD, right down to Governor Cuomo, who mistook the sheriff's department for the NYPD. They're totally different departments. Dan had an incident with the New York City sheriffs. 20 officers were there from the sheriff. Not one was NYPD. So in New York, we recognize law enforcement as NYPD, and the governor has put these people in a position where they're doing enforcement that they've never been trained for. So God bless them. And may someone come down and really give Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio a serious beatdown for putting everyone in harm's way.
Right. So at least 110,000 restaurants have closed nationwide so far. I believe the lockdowns never should have happened. Florida didn't lock down, and they have half the deaths per capita of New York State, and they don't even have a mask mandate. I think if these businesses were allowed to operate at 50 to 75% at least this whole summer, at least they could have made money and sustained. Yep. So now we have a second lockdown, which is just going to put them all out of business, right?
Well, Staten Island's divided into two areas. There's an orange zone and there's a yellow zone. So if you're in the yellow zone, you can have outdoor dining. If you're in the orange zone, you can only do takeout. So no outdoor dining. So they've given these guys no option. And, Dave, just to put this into perspective, you can literally walk one block and you're in a yellow zone, and there are restaurants there that are opening and they're operating. So think about your frustration out there in middle America. And I'll put one block in New York City terms into the homeland, the flyover country. Just think about if someone from your state came in and said, you can no longer operate your farm. And then your cousin Jed calls you from a mile away and he says, hey, I'm making so much money because they closed half the farms down here and I'm fine. And at one farm a mile away, they could be open and milking cows and having chickens lay eggs and all that good stuff. And the next farm over a mile away can't even make a dime to feed their family. It's the same exact thing, except in city terms.
Well, the policy is so hypocritical to begin with. So now the COVID only comes out after 10 o'clock at night. Also...
1 block away from Max Pub. Isn't that amazing too?
Right, so COVID exists, in his zone, but not across the street. And I think, they're just decimating the economy. I understand de Blasio because he's a Marxist and a communist who used to work for the Sandinistas in Nicaragua.
That's right.
But why is Cuomo so brutal?
Cuomo, he's a hidden progressive, and that's been, the story of his life. People don't realize, but he's an emperor. He's a dictator. He uses strong arm tactics. He calls us in Staten Island tough guys and this and that and the other thing. Meantime, he's a thug. It's easy to sit up there on your perch in Albany and collect royalties from your book that you wrote. And think about this, Dave. He's talking about how Staten Island has the highest rate in New York City. That was a total and complete lie. At the same time, the guy got an Emmy Award for leadership, where he basically led thousands of New York senior citizens to their grave with an inept, bungling attempt to deal with COVID. So why is his leadership what we need? Is his leadership real? And now that we know every single day he's going out there and lying, people in Staten Island start to wonder, do we even respect that authority or leadership anymore? Because it's not the America we know.
So all the red states that haven't been locked down have half of the deaths per capita, but they also have 5% unemployment. And the New York, Massachusetts, Michigan, Rhode Island, we have unemployment between 11 and 13%. And it's always going to get worse. I wanted to talk to you about Pete Davidson on SNL. How despicable were his comments the other day? What's wrong with this guy?
Many people are reaching out to me. I know Pete for a long time. I've known him since he was a little kid. Great family, legendary dad, one of the best athletes on Staten Island, proud firefighter, regular dude. And, it just hit me in my heart to think, I remember after 9/11 that many Staten Islanders were taken from us, God bless them all. And all Staten Islanders and people around the city and the country reached out to help all those families that were grieving. And to kind of just sit up there and make fun of all those people that were there for each other, it kind of just made me think about George Carlin. I love George Carlin. He's on my Mount Rushmore of comedians. And George Carlin said, real comics don't punch down. They punch up. They use their platform to point out tyranny and things like that. And, those guys should be punching up on a governor who's shutting down all the businesses in their neighborhood. And don't let Colin Jost off the hook, because he's a Staten Islander too. He's ducking it up. I just happened to have known his family. And I'm sorry that became a bigger story. But the truth of the matter is, Dave, it inspired me. And I want to tell you that I've sublet Max Pub along with the space right next door. And that's why I've launched my new startup, Speakeasy News. Being that I'm broadcast, I'm sorry, on another network, but we're not as great as you guys at America's Voice. Starting Monday, all my broadcasts for Liquid Lunch, which is seen 12 to 2 daily Eastern on Biz TV, are coming from Max Pub. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be doing my show there. I just happen to be essential, as you are, because we're national news people. And I just put this out there. De Blasio and Cuomo, I highly doubt you're going to shut down the news. And on Liquid Lunch, it's been going on for years. Go check it out. We have a drink and we talk about the news. And that's what we're going to continue to do from Max Pub. So the fight continues.
Well, I give you kudos for stepping in and helping these guys and subletting their place. I know business after business, and I'm in the private sector also on Long Island. And we're carrying this COVID lockdown. We're carrying it on our backs while everyone else is sitting home and telling us to stay home and wear a mask and stay home. So the burden's on us, and we can't sleep at night. So I'm a brother in arms against, with you. And Pete Davidson, the message to you is, I lost one of my best friends in 9/11. I think it's disgraceful what he did. John, where can our viewers follow you? And we have about 30 seconds.
You can follow me on Facebook. I'm live every day on Facebook. If you don't have Biz TV, you can go watch me live on biztv.com also every single day. And Dave, I just want to tell you this. I invite you down to do your show one of these days from the autonomous zone, because I'm going to be occupying it for quite some time as a news entity. And I invite anyone else who wants to fight for freedom, and any restaurant and bar owner who wants to join the Speakeasy News Network. I can make you an essential business tomorrow.
John Tabacco, we want to thank you so much. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we'll be back to you on that. And this is really important. Everybody pay attention.
David, thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, that was John Tabacco. He's the CEO of SpeakeasyNews.com, and he's also the host of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. What he's doing to help this bar owner is incredible. So we have a great show. Do not miss it. Stay tuned. We have great guests coming up, including Dylan Howard. This is David Zier.